All right, and we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Pop Culture Cosmos, the Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you get a chance, please give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We would truly appreciate it, and hopefully you'll continue to listen to all the great upcoming shows that we've got planned for you right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, I'll tell you what, being here in Vegas gives you kind of a unique perspective on what's going on with all major sports, but none more so than the NBA, because the NBA is they're now in the bubble. Hopefully it won't burst, but they're now in the bubble. They're going ahead, they're practicing, they're getting ready to go ahead for the scrimmages later this month, and of course the game starting on the 30th with the Lakers and the Clippers. And here today to talk some great odds, because if you want to know what the odds are out there and what Vegas is saying, I've got a great guest on today. You got to catch what he's doing today at DocSports.com and also MyBookie. He has over 14 years of experience as a sportsbook manager at 4 of the biggest, most well-known sportsbooks on the Vegas Strip. His bio says it all, and it's right there at DocSports.com. Again, he's the heads odds maker at MyBookie. You got to check out all the great stuff that he's doing today at DocSports.com. It's Raphael Esparza, and he's AKA the Vegas Sports Informer. It is Raphael Esparza, and Raphael, thanks for joining us once again on the program.
Thanks for having me. It's just weird to hear all that. I mean, I haven't worked in the Vegas casinos in so while, and I actually do miss. Well, maybe not now, because I remember working during 9/11 at New York, right next to the ESPN zone, and it was just a ghost town there. I'm hearing it's a ghost town in the sports books right now, and I would not be shocked if we still haven't seen the worst of the worst in Vegas casinos, because let's face it, no one's traveling yet. But I miss the good old days of breathing in the smoking from the horse bettors and people screaming at me because they want a free comp to the buffet. But those were good times.
They were good times. I actually was working with Terribles at that point in time during 9/11. Very different and unfortunate day that was. I do remember that crystal clear. But having worked in Las Vegas casinos myself, I know that life. And like you said, you miss that smell. My brother-in-law actually is a manager still with the downtown. And when you go downtown, it's like, okay, you can smell it from a mile away.
What, downtown smells? What?
I'll say it's not quite as nice yet. But you've been here long enough to know that they've been constantly trying to feed money into downtown and trying to make it nicer and a more inviting experience. Some of it's worked. Definitely some of it is not, but still it's an experience unlike anything other than what you can get on the front side of the Strip. I mean, if you want that old Las Vegas type feel, there's no better place to go than downtown. But you and I both know most people gravitate, especially when they come here to Vegas, they gravitate towards all the big hotels.
Bring back the 99-cent shrimp cocktails.
Gosh, the $3 steak. I missed the 77 cents breakfasts at Arizona Charlie.
Oh, the 99-cent spaghetti and meatballs, all you can eat. Oh, at Arizona Charlie's.
Yes.
But I'm hungry.
Yes, now myself as well. I mean, when I came here in 95, there was so many great deals as far as food is concerned. And they all went away for, at the time, before COVID and coronavirus, $30, $40 buffets.
Yeah, they all went away when corporate America took over Vegas Strip.
Exactly. I mean, the mob tried to keep you in, but corporate's trying to push you out.
Bring back the mob, too.
Well, I don't know about that, but we'll see. Actually, we got the Mob Museum here. That's also downtown. But there's a lot of great things to talk about when it comes to the NBA. And like I said before, they are in the bubble here in as far as in Orlando. I wish they would have been in Las Vegas, because you and I both started to see the pictures on social media. You see the conditions, quote unquote, that they are in. I know the Lakers, when they landed in the plane and they got to the hotel, they were very vocal especially Rajon Rondo and J.R. Smith in regards to their facilities that they had in the hotels. I'll just leave it at that. But I want to hear your thoughts. I mean, first off, when you heard the fact that they were going to do a bubble, I mean, Las Vegas was heavily rumored to be in the mix, and I was actually hoping that that would have been the case. But your thoughts on the NBA bubble itself, and is it a good idea to have at this point in time?
It is. I thought it was granted, having so many friends and so many people that still work in the casino industry in Vegas, that would have been great for the city of Las Vegas, but at the same time, it would have been horrible for the league. I don't know if you were here when the NBA All-Star Game was here in Las Vegas, but it was horrendously bad for the crowds, for what happened outside the Strip. I think it would have been horrible if the NBA players would have been in the bubble in Las Vegas, walking on the Strip. You know, the clubs would have opened up, the pools would have opened up for them. I don't think that would have been a good idea. I think it is a good idea to have a bubble, maybe not in Orlando because Orlando or Florida is in a peak of COVID right now, but in any kind of bubble, and if you follow the rules, you're probably in the most safest place you're gonna be, except maybe if you're just gonna stay in your house and do absolutely nothing. But being in this bubble, I've talked to people who are there for the MLS in Orlando. They said it's strict. They said you can't leave. Everything gets delivered to you. So if you get COVID or that team gets, that means maybe someone broke the rules and decided to maybe go outside the bubble and grab a steak or go to a golf course that they shouldn't, or maybe go to an adult club at an evening time where they shouldn't. So I don't mind a bubble. I think it's a good idea. I think everyone still has these high hopes that, it could fail. But I think once the games start going and how strict this bubble could be and should be, then I think we're going to continue to have basketball. But I think the biggest thing that people are not realizing, what the MLS soccer did 2 days ago, what they did to FC Dallas and Nashville, not cancel the whole tournament, but say, hey, you know what? Too bad, too sad. You guys have a whole bunch of cases. You guys need to go home. And we're still going to continue playing our tournament. I think that was huge for NHL, NBA, and Major League Baseball, because now people are saying, okay, what if one team gets it? Are you going to cancel the whole season, or are you just going to cancel them? I thought that was huge for anybody that's waiting for the NBA or NHL to come back. Because I think, let's say, I'm going to use Portland Trailblazers as an example. Let's say the Blazers have 5 people get tested positive. Okay, sorry, Portland, you're done. Your playoff hopes are done. You're going home, but we're still continue to play. I think that's what the NBA and the NHL will probably do now, because the MLS did it first. I think that was huge smart, and I think that's why we're going to see at least the NBA and the NHL finish their seasons. NFL and baseball, that's a totally different story because they're starting their season.
Yeah, and it's so funny to see that they're, like you said, that they're starting the season. For a long time, Major League Baseball couldn't even get its act together on how many games that they were going to agree to be played. And NFL, I still don't know how logistically it's going to work without some type of major illness just breaking out all over the place when it comes to what they're doing, because they're not going for a bubble type situation, at least as of this recording. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be something very difficult, but Goodell's very adamant on doing this. So the NFL's very adamant on doing this and going through with it. So we'll have to wait and see there. But when it comes to the NBA, you're right. They're in the bubble now. It looks like they're going to at least march ahead. And if, like you said, Portland or the Lakers or any other team out there incurs a lot of illnesses and an outbreak begins within the confines of the team, there's not a lot of players left to get that you can bring in, because they would have to be quarantined. Brooklyn almost took the lot that's out there. I mean, the basketball tournament that's going on right now, they might take some players from there that's left, because there's not many players left that are eligible to play in the league at this point in time.
No, I got a phone call from Brooklyn and said if I can still suit up. That's how desperate they are.
Exactly, because it's just, there just is no one left almost seemingly at this point in time, especially because of everything that happened to Brooklyn. And that's one thing before we get into the favorites that are coming up with the playoffs and with what's upcoming for the rest of the season, and obviously for the title that you're hearing out of Vegas, because you are, once again, as I'm speaking to the Vegas sports informer, Raphael Esparza from MyBookie and also at DocSports.com. I want to ask you this, that when something happens like that to Brooklyn, I mean, they were already long shots as is because they weren't going to have KD. They weren't going to have Kyrie Irving. But when something happens like that, do they, how much larger do those odds get for them?
I mean, it got large, but let's face it. I mean, everyone, if you take out both LA teams and Milwaukee, everybody that's dressing up in an NBA jersey is double-digit dogs. I mean, yeah, Houston and Boston, I think they're 12-1, 15-1, anywhere between 18-1, those two. But everybody besides that, 20 or over. I mean, so it didn't really affect us because we could probably put the Brooklyn Nets 1,000,000-1. And no one would take that ticket just because of who they have in the jersey. I mean, it looks like the bad news bears of the NBA that be dressing up on them. So it's not like we're going to take a lot of action. So it didn't really affect us as long as the Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, and you can maybe throw in Rockets, Celtics. Don't sleep on the Miami Heat, as I've been telling people. Those teams, as long as those teams continue to play, I think the NBA format, the NBA playoffs will be all right. That's why I think LeBron James should be driving around in the Pope Mobile bubble. Because, I mean, him and maybe put Kawhi Leonard in there and maybe the Greek Freak. Just let them drive around because that's what we need. We need the playoffs to start, and we need an NBA Finals. Let's face it, me and you all agree. Those three teams, one of those three teams will probably be in the NBA Finals. We could probably see both of two teams in there, but I still think I'm still sticking with my go-to when the season started, Bucks versus someone in the LA district of LA Lakers or Clippers. But the Nets, it didn't really bother us them trying to find players because no one was going to bet them unless they were going to try to get some bring back the youth or the fountain of youth and bring back Larry Bird and some goats and dress them back up. But it didn't matter who the Nets were. No one was going to bet on them no matter what.
And that's one thing I wanted to ask you is, like you said, with the odds out here in Vegas, it's pretty apparent that Vegas has focused in on three teams. And that's pretty obviously, what you saw during the season. You saw three teams stand out. The Clippers, the Bucks, and the Lakers. And you and I both know that, let's say everything's on the even keel, and let's say all three teams start out on the even note. There's so many people that are Lakers fans that come up and drive the odds in a different swing out here in Vegas that ultimately the Lakers are never, whether the ultimate favorite or not, they're not always going to have the right odds placed against it. So it's hard to bet on the Lakers themselves. The actual odds of what they should be and what the odds are ultimately when they end up are kind of different. But I still think the Lakers are to me the slight favorite over the Bucks and the Clippers at this point in time. And obviously I say that because, my love for the Lakers, but I think they're really, when you have LeBron and you have AD, I mean, that really puts the odds in your favor, so to speak. But I want to hear your thoughts when it comes to betting in Las Vegas, when it comes from people from Los Angeles. I mean, it does sway the odds in a different favor. It makes it kind of difficult to get an idea exactly where the Lakers stand actually, amongst all the odds out here in Vegas because of such a great swing that Lakers fans provide.
It does show a great swing, and we normally, when we put Laker odds up, especially when they're at home, we have to usually adjust it anywhere between 1.5, 2 points, just because we know the Laker money is going to come in. If it's coming in here in Vegas, if it's coming offshore, if it's coming anywhere, Lakers are one of the top three top bet teams in the NBA. Period. Even when they only just had Kobe versus 4 taxi cab drivers from TJ on the court, people were always betting the Lakers. It's different now. COVID is here. The Lakers are not at Staples Center. So I keep on telling people, even though the odds are showing that Milwaukee, Clippers, LA, three of the top bet favorites could join NBA Finals, we can maybe see 0-3. Because let's face it, playing at the Staples Center, that home crowd is huge in the fourth quarter. Are we going to see that home crowd in Orlando? No. I mean, that could affect a lot of these teams. Chemistry could affect a lot of these teams. Someone could go down with COVID, could affect a lot of these teams. So just because we're going to expect a lot of Laker money, we're hoping to get a lot of Laker money because I'm probably not going to be the biggest fan of your show right now, but I don't see them going into the NBA Finals because of that. Missing the home field advantage at Staples, missing some guys that may not be playing because of COVID or stuff like that. I don't see them as a top two. I still think Clippers are a better team, better bench, and a younger team. I still think that I would put the Clippers over the Lakers, but not playing in Staples is like the Green Bay Packers not playing at Lambeau during football and how we're supposed to do betting numbers this year. It's going to be huge for us, even though we're going to get the Laker money, but I can guarantee you a lot of people are going to be betting the Lakers, and if they lose at home, they're like, oh, we would have probably won if it was at the Staples Center. Can I get a refund?
You're probably get a little bit of that, or at least the odds makers out there, at least the people in charge. Like you said, you were part of so many sports books here in town, and you're going to hear that a lot. I'm hear the rumblings and whatnot. I don't say I blame you. You're not the first on the show to say that you think the Clippers are going to win. I mean, and they're a great team. They've got a lot of great players on there. Obviously, depth is something that they have as a premium. Again, I'm putting my money with LeBron and AD. I think when it comes down to the playoffs, it's about matchups, and I think the Lakers match up better against those top two teams. I think they proved it on that weekend before. But you're right, they do have a great advantage at Staples, but they're also one of the best road teams out there in the NBA. So being on the road, being in a different location, it's not unusual for them, and they have been very, they've taken advantage of it, and they've been very prosperous from it.
Yeah, but for a road team for the Lakers, a lot of times when the Lakers went on a road, Laker fans dominated that arena. So it was not really a big of a hard road swing. Unless when you went to Milwaukee, of course, the Bucks were going to be there. But when the Lakers went to Chicago or Brooklyn or all that, there was more purple and gold jerseys than there were the home jerseys. So I think that's why they had a good, outstanding road rate. I'm telling you, being in a bubble, watching MLS and English Premier League with no fans and stuff like that, players are saying it. We miss in the second half when we need that special kick. When we're lagging, we need that home crowd. There's nothing there out there. It's going to affect. And I still think I'm putting the Lakers example of going to Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers. It's a lot easier probably to win a game now at Lambeau when there's no one there than it was when it was packed house.
That's a good point. That's a good point indeed. And once again, I'm speaking to Raphael Esparza of MyBookie and DocSports.com. What are some of the surprise teams, or what are some of the longer shot odd teams that you think might pay off or have a good chance to pay off? It sounds like in the West, even with a team like Houston, which is going all small ball, the Nuggets, which is actually the third team in the West, and if they get Jokic here, because that's still a problem getting Jokic in the United States and in Orlando because of how he contracted the coronavirus and he hasn't been cleared yet. That issue still hasn't, fully gotten itself right. But, if they're able to get it together, I mean, they're teams that would have still a harder time getting by both LA teams. So I know the odds for them would be long. But the East, if something happens to Giannis Antetokounmpo, that could throw things wide open. So I want to hear your thoughts on some surprise teams or longer shot odds teams that you think, they stand a decent chance of going all the way.
Now, are we going to get skinny Jokic or fat Jokic when he finally arrives in Orlando is probably the biggest question mark. But yeah, I agree. Denver's probably got the biggest question mark in the West just because of that. I kind of think Houston was small ball. Let's face it, me and you probably agree. It's going to be either one of the LA teams in the West will come out. And I'll give Houston a very small shot just because if that three ball is hitting, they can beat anybody in the league by double digits if the three ball is hitting, not just squeaking out a victory by double digits. So I'll give Houston a small sample on that. Maybe Utah, but I think Utah has locker room issues more than anything else. But in the East, boy, it's wide open. And like I said, we have Milwaukee's favorite 3-1 to win it all, minus 160 to win the Eastern Conference. But there's a teams that I kind of like. I like the Celtics coming in. There's a deep team, a young team. I like the Miami Heat that can play defense, that can shut down Jimmy Butler. He says his knees have never felt better with this break. So if he's 110% healthy and they were able to hang out and practice together like Miami said they have, they didn't want to mention that because they didn't want to get in trouble, but they said they've been practicing since sometime mid-April. I forgot whose houses they were. I think Udell's house they were practicing at because he had a full court indoor in his house. Miami could be a scary team. I like those two teams. I think Boston and Miami could maybe pull the rug over someone and maybe surprise and be in that NBA or Eastern Conference Finals or even the NBA Finals, those two teams. And boy, would that I would love to see Miami throw a rug over that. Miami versus that's when I wouldn't mind watching the Lakers play in the finals if it's Lakers and Miami and maybe D Wade will come back.
Well, there you go. At least he'll be there to maybe pop in and watch because he might have that access. So you're right. Coming out of retirement for that would be kind of fun to watch. But Toronto's been such a surprise team this year. They're now, for the first time all year, fully healthy. You don't see them in that mix as well?
In the NBA, it's so hard to go back to back. They won it last year. I don't like their depth. And I think in this bubble, you're going to need depth. We're going to see teams run 8, 9, maybe 10 guys because it's short turnaround. We're not going to be like an NBA Finals where you have game 1 on Tuesday and maybe game 2 on Saturday on ABC. Because they're trying to finish this season as quickly as possible because they're for the next season to pretty much start, unless the NBA Finals. I know the NBA Final dates are set, but we're going to see a lot of teams running deep because their stars can be probably resting. So I think deeper teams, that's why I don't like Toronto, because I don't think they have the depth like they do with Boston and Miami. And I think teams who are going to play defense in the East are going to pull off, and I think both those teams, Boston and Miami, have better Ds than Toronto.
And that's what right now I'm hearing from Raphael Esparza from DocSports.com. He's also the heads odds maker at MyBookie. Please go check out all the great work that he's doing today that I'm showing you right now at DocSports.com. You can see all the stuff that he's got right there on DocSports.com with all the great things that you can go ahead and invest your money in, whether it's Major League Baseball, hockey, NBA basketball, golf, MMA, there's other sports, soccer, horse racing. And what we're going to be talking about next, after he explains everything that he's doing, it's just a great site indeed. It's DocSports.com, but I've spoken so much about it. But before we head on out and before we talk a little bit about pop culture, which I also host, actually it's the largest show that I have, is the Pop Culture Cosmos, and that goes around the world on 30 different radio stations. So I'm eager to go ahead and listen to this upcoming part we're going to have next. But I want to ask you this. What are you doing at DocSports.com or MyBookie that you really want to get across to consumers out there, especially those that are looking to really get the best odds or the best insight for their money?
Yeah, both companies I've been working. I know MyBookie is a global brand, not in Vegas, but they gave me the chance to do the outrageous betting prop bets. You can go back and forth. The Utah Jazz Pelicans game is pick 'em. The total's 189.5 or 190 or whatever. But I wanted to dive in. That's why I left corporate world, because I wanted to expand the betting horizon. Of prop bets, you can of entertainment prop bets, stuff like that. So that's why I jumped on board over with MyBookie, and Doc Sports may let me do that adventure and actually write great articles for the crazy prop bets that I post over at MyBookie. I'm a big horse racing fan, so you can look at all my horse racing stuff over at Doc Sports. So both companies have given me the expansion of providing people. There's more than just betting on, or there's even more just looking at it. You don't have to bet my entertainment prop bets or any of my prop bets. It's water cooler talk, as I like to say. Hey, when you're watching a game and you saw Zion dunk 6 times and it's only in the third quarter, you know what? The game 1, we're probably going to have over under 5.5 dunks that he's probably going to have in game 1. So you can maybe not bet it, but at least you'll know about it. And you're like, wow, he just went to that prop bet went over. So I like to provide people not just, we need your money, bet, but just give you an entertainment value. So when you are sitting down and maybe you don't have any bets, you can still look at a game and say, wow, that was another 3-pointer LeBron James hit. He had over under with 3.5 3-pointers in this game. And he's already got 3, and it's only the fourth quarter. So I like to entertain people, not just the plain old, here's a point spread, here's a total, here's my money, thank you.
Exactly. And for that great insight, you can go ahead and head over to MyBookie or DocSports.com for all that great insight. And like you said, some of the things that you now can go ahead and lay odds on or lay insight on, you're going ahead and doing today on these great sites. In fact, I saw some of your work on the WWE, which is always, in the past 2-3 years, I'd say, really grown as far as odds making is concerned, especially a lot of offshore stuff as well. I've seen a lot of odds that, man, I just would love to throw my money down because and throw my experience on there as far as what I know and what I understand about the world of professional wrestling or entertainment. I've seen your odds on a lot of the stuff going on with the Kardashians, which is quite amusing and all that. So just a lot of great things there in pop culture. And before we head on out, I want to hear some of the more interesting aspects of the pop culture realm that you love to go ahead and throw odds on, and some of the more interesting ones that your followers go ahead and lay money on as well.
Well, really quick on the wrestling, people always say, how do you put odds on when they already know the results? On pay-per-view, especially the bigger pay-per-views, the wrestlers do not know the results until either they're walking into the ring or the ref tells them when they got into the ring. So that's why everyone says, I can't believe you're putting odds on stuff that they already know the outcome. Pay-per-views, they don't know the outcome right away. Hello, look at Brock Lesnar when he beat The Undertaker. 40-1 that day. And if you watched Undertaker's recent show on WWE, him and Vince McMahon fought for an hour and a half because Vince McMahon did not want Undertaker to lose that match. And finally, Undertaker told Brock Lesnar during the match, hey, you're going to win this. And Brock Lesnar didn't believe him for like 15 minutes. So it was a great storyline. But the stuff that we're putting out right now, I mean, I got odds on America's Got Talent. We're putting on that. You can bet, will the Golden Buzzer win the America's Got Talent? The nose minus 140. I just posted some odds. The season 4 or the Handmaid's Tales. I don't know if you watched that, but you can bet a whole bunch of cool stuff. Would this be the last season of Handmaid's Tales? Will Alfred die on season 4 if you don't watch it? So it's a great stuff on there. It's just fun to putting out entertainment. I can't wait till the movies come back because I had a whole bunch of Halloween Kills betting prop bets because I had Halloween betting prop bets for the first movie and they got huge action. It was actually published in a couple entertainment magazines with the how many that's what Michael Myers have with a knife. That was one of our popular betting prop bets. So I can't wait for the movies to come back. But I love pop culture and I'll put anything that trends on social media. I'm going to put a betting number on it. So if you have anything that's trending that you want me to see odds on, please send it to me on my Twitter at VSI.Sports because I love to add more entertainment prop bets because let's face it, it's water cooler talk. And I love people to talk about stuff that you can actually bet on or just actually talk about and laugh about.
It's funny because, like you said, you're some of the most interesting odds you put out there with Jason and that Friday the 13th and all that. Blumhouse decided to go ahead and push that back. Like all these movies are getting pushed back. And that's
so sad.
It is. And, that's the question with a lot of these movies these days are some of the things that you might want to put odds on. How many times will this movie get pushed back? And, that was in some of these cases, it's now gone up to 3, 4, and 5 times even. So it's crazy what it's going on now. And very unfortunate that we as movie fans cannot go ahead and see these movies because the continual ongoing things that are going on with the coronavirus. But yeah, for a great water cooler talk like you're talking about, it's funny because you see all those great things that you're posting odds on, whether it's The Handmaid's Tale or like the WWE. And with the WWE, there are rumors, and you've heard on the quote unquote dirt sheets and all the other the insiders there that talk about when they see a lot of action on the odds from people such as yourself, sometimes that influences the decision and say, you know what, there's if that's what the public feels, I think we're going to go in a different way as far as the result is concerned. So I've heard that being tossed about as far as possible reasonings behind some of the results that you've seen out there. But you're right. In a lot of cases, they don't know until they go out there, or like you said, the ref lets them know. So, or when they show up to the arena, they don't know exactly whether they're going to win or lose. So that's part of the interesting thing about betting on, like you said, the WWE, All Elite Wrestling, and pro wrestling as a whole. But there's so much out there in pop culture you can bet on. The Emmys are coming up. So the voting's already out as far as for Emmys that are out there. And I know Variety has their choices on who they think is the favorites, who they think is might have a chance, and the long shots indeed. And I know you're starting to formulate a plan. I would assume for the Emmys. But before we head on out, I just want to ask this: for all the different things that you talk about, what's the most enjoyable aspect as far as your job is concerned?
Oh, it's got to be the research. I mean, I just did a full betting big betting spreadsheet for Shark Week. We tagged there's 9 great whites tagged out in the world, and Shark Week's doing it. So I did odds on what shark would be tagged first. Did a whole thing for that, and the research for that was just outstanding. I did a whole bunch of our work for Newsweek for celebrity breakups. And so doing research for that, for marriages that's going to last and odds on that, I think the research has to be the fun thing. Because like I said, anyone can do an NFL Week 1 odds, stuff like that. You can either copy someone else's and have them done in an hour. But putting up odds for great white sharks or movies or TV odds or stuff like that, that's when you have to really go dive in and start looking at cast, rumor mills, blogs, writers and stuff like that. That's the fun work of doing the research for it. And like I said, I don't care if not $1 gets bet on it, but if someone looked at it and talked about it, it gives me pleasure.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is going to be a lot of pleasure derived from all the odds that you put out there, whether it's if Stranger Things season 4 will be the last one. Or
I'm already working on Stranger Things and probably this weekend when I'm watching UFC 251.
Oh, there you go. Exactly. So all the great odds, all the great stuff that he's talking about, please go ahead and check out Raphael's work today at MyBookie and DocSports.com. You'll be glad you did. There's a lot of things going out there. If you're really into the betting scene, whether or not you just want to go there and read and understand and know what the feeling and the understanding is like as far as the Vegas odds makers are concerned, or if you want to go ahead and invest your money wisely with some of the great odds that they have there, go ahead and check out what Raphael and so many others are doing today at DocSports.com and MyBookie, because it's just a great time indeed. Being here in Vegas so many years, you learn to go ahead and put your money wisely where it counts. I've bet on a few things before, and I've been okay, done pretty good. And like you said, it's always not just about whether or not you put your money on it. It's about what the odds are and what the mood is here in Vegas and how they perceive things. And as the Vegas sports informer, I'm sure a lot of people are always up to date on what you're doing out there. But before we go, I want to go ahead and make sure everybody gets a chance to go ahead and have a question or throw that out to you. So what is the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can find me on social media. Best way to get a hold of me if you have questions is a Twitter. You can follow me at VSI.sports. You can follow me on Instagram, Raphael Esparza. Those are probably 2 best places to jump on in if you have any questions on betting, on numbers. If you're looking to bet something, you can't find it, I'll post it up. I love when people tell me, hey, I want to bet this movie or bet this fight or bet this game that's being played in Japan, Korea, whatever. If you put a betting number up, I'll research it and I'll put a betting number up. So feel free to chime on in again on Twitter at VSI.sports and Instagram, Raphael Esparza.
Well, there you go. Raphael, it's just been so great having you on the show today. I want to get you back on at a later point in time so you can go ahead and update your odds with us, not only on what's going on with the NBA here at the Lakers Fast Break, but the pop culture cosmos always want to go ahead and hear more about what the odds are out there on all, and it creates so many great things that are out there in pop culture. So I'm looking forward to having you back on again real soon. Once again, it's Raphael Esparza, a.k.a. the Vegas Sports Informer. You got to go ahead and check out, once again, what he's doing today at MyBookie and DocSports.com. Well, I want to thank you so much, Raphael, and just so great to have you on right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast.